I think I might have an addiction. There's a little game called Magic the Gathering. I don't know if any of you really heard of it or anything like that. It's just a tiny little indie card game that was made 30 years ago. No, you haven't heard of it? No, not at all. I have a little bit of a problem just because there's a way of playing the game called Commander, where it's a 100 card format. You have one commander, and then the rest of the cards are whatever else you want it to be. I have 12 of those decks. It's a lot of money. I've spent a lot of money. I started Magic the Gathering with my girlfriend last year in 2024, right before Bloomborough came out. I think it was in June-ish. I bought a pre-con deck. It was a Universes Beyond. Don't at me. It got me into it. I'm still buying whatever else. I like the theme and everything of it. Who cares? The point is that I have an addiction, and today I'm going to talk about that addiction, but I'm not going to get rid of it. The addiction's going to keep going. But I just wanted to go over a couple of my favorite ones. I didn't really know what else to film. I didn't have any video ideas, so I was like, oh, maybe, do something like this. Yeah, I mean, I have 12 of them. I rotate all of them out. I'm just going to go over my top 5 favorite ones today. The first one is actually going to be this one that is hidden back here behind me. It is in a regular, just, pre-con whatever, it's cardboard piece of crap deck box, because I don't have another deck box. So yeah, let's get right into this one. Okay, so the first deck that I have is actually my very first deck I ever built. Let me get it all out of here. So I have it in this. I ran out of deck boxes because I make too many decks, and so it is actually I think it's Cardor Doomscourge. So this is, I describe it as my Sweden deck. I basically, oh, sorry, I smacked my camera. I basically do nothing while doing everything at the same time. This deck basically guarantees second place, because it's whenever Doomscourge enters the battlefield, until your next turn, creatures your opponents control attack each other if able. So you basically goad everybody, besides they can't hit you. And then whenever an attacking creature dies, each opponent loses 1 life, and then you gain 1 life. So how I want to do this, I kind of just want to pick out some of the best cards that I can think of in this deck. Hold on, I did like a cutoff point. Where's it at? Hold up. I'll cut back to it whenever I find it. Okay, found it. It was just, I just put some random card in there. Just because that's what I had lying around. I didn't have any dividers for this one. Okay, so these are like, lands, mana ramps, anything like that. Stuff I didn't think that was like the most important thing. So, these are the most important cards in this deck, I believe. So we have Rise from the Grave, which is put target creature from the graveyard into the battlefield, which is like, of course, that's really good. The only bad caveat is that it's a 5 cost. I have some cheaper ones that do that. Dance, I think it's like, because it can't be Dance, because it's not Dance, whatever. But basically just take back from the graveyard, put it in there. You can roll a 15 or above, and you get 2 instead, so that's pretty good. Shadowheart from Baldur's Gate, which is, cool. Whenever you sacrifice a player, Whenever you sacrifice a creature, draw X cards, where X is the creature's power. So you'd be drawing 4 cards consistently multiple times, like per game, because he's basically every single time there is a turn, when it's on your turn, you just basically sacrifice him. That's the whole thing around this whole deck. And so the reason why I say it guarantees second place is because there's not really a win con. I kind of have like 1 win con in here because we'll get to it. I have it in here. The ones that are that have like cut that out, active abilities like this, where it says like pay to sacrifice a creature. Those are like the best cards in the entire deck, or some of them, because you don't have to keep paying over and over to do it. Once you get them out and you do it over and over, like there's some cards in here. Oh, these are like even better. So I like copies in this deck. Copies are probably the best, and so this one, you make a token creature, and with haste, yada yada yada, but that's not like the main important part. The main important part is actually getting them in as a copy, because every single copy of Cardour is going to do the same exact thing. So you actually don't have to keep sacrificing him over and over, you just have to keep making copies if you can. So Dockside Chef, this is a card my girlfriend wants to steal from me very, very desperately. So it's sacrifice an artifact or creature. It's one of those where it just has it in there. And then a whole bunch of different cards that are just, you know, whenever you, what is it called? Whenever just sacrifice a creature, bring him back, yada, yada, yada. This is, because of Foundations, this is one of the best combos in like ever. This right here, I think this card is $30. I'll put on the screen like whatever the prices are of these, if I mention them at all, or if I have like any really big ones, I can put on like the screen like what they are and like what they do and stuff and what the prices is. These are both from Foundations. I think this is a brand new one from Foundations. This might be a reprint, I can't remember. And so this is Flying Death Touch. Whenever an opponent loses life, you gain that much life. Whenever you gain life, opponent loses life. Whenever they lose life, you gain life, and then, you know, so on and so forth. If you get both of these cards out, you insta win, unless someone has like an instant that can get rid of one of them, which is a very big possibility with some of these. This isn't this was just kind of like a meme deck I wanted to do. I don't like, whenever I was first playing Magic, I didn't want to just be overpowered and awful at games, and so I just decided to do something like this. Just a bunch of sorceries, everything. It's not really like the strongest deck, like I said, just a bunch of stuff that tells you, oh, this and that, like, you know, put them in the graveyard, bring them back, all that. This is probably the only win con I have of this entire deck, is Maha as its Feathers Knight. I have two of these cards. I'm gonna probably make a what is it called, a deck around him or her. She has Flying, Trample, Ward, discard a card, which isn't that bad, but it's creatures your opponent's toughness have base 0 or 1, sorry. But that's really important, especially if I have like tiny little creatures that don't really do anything, and I have like a bunch of him or something. Like, I gotta like keep going because they have a base toughness of 1 now, so I'll be able to get through them. Because once it gets to a one-on-one, you can't really do anything. Like, whenever he has to attack, or whenever you have a player that has to attack, this isn't good in a one-on-one because they're constantly attacking you now, which they're going to be anyways because it's a one-on-one. But this one's a pretty good card. I think last time I checked, I think it was like $10, but I can't remember, it's been a while. And then this is just additional cost, sacrifice. This is one of the most important cards too, just to create the token copy. That's pretty good. You just pay 2 in a red and that's it. This is probably the best card in the entire deck right here, and it's soulbound, and as long as Mirage Phalanx is paired with another creature, each of those creatures has, at the beginning of a combat turn, create a token of the copy that is of this creature, except it has haste and loses soulbound, exile it at the end of combat. So every single time you enter combat, you make a token of him, and so then it just goes into exile or whatever. So you won't have to sacrifice him every time. He just makes one for free every single time. So whenever I get him in my deck, I have to, or in my hand, I have to do like biggest poker face in the world. But yeah, the rest of them are just kind of like, you know, like a Braid, of course, that's one of the most important ones in red decks, but you know, you really just do it to, you know, deal 3 damage to anything, because this has 3 damage, so, or 3 health, and then destroy target artifact, and then deals 4 damage, and then really just stuff to just bring it back from the dead, or bring it back from the dead, yeah. And then this one's a pretty good one. This one's from Foundations that I got. if you have anything that loses health in here, because there's sometimes where it's like, oh, as an extra thing to this card, you know, sacrifice and it deals damage to so and so. You get to put a you'll get to put a +1/+1 on her. I don't have too many vampires in this deck, so not really important. And then just destroy. You know, ooh, knock my camera again. You know, it's not my favorite deck, but it's my first one, so it's my baby. I don't get to play it very often. I get to play it whenever like I meme around with people, just because I want to get second place. But yeah, that is that one. So on to the next one. Okay, so that deck's really not the greatest. It's my first one I've ever made. I looked up a video on how to do it. I took some liberties on like what I should do with it. It's fine. It's something that just guarantees me second place, and it's a little bit of a meme deck. It's my Sweden deck is what I call it. I don't do anything, but everybody else fights around me. If I'm the last one standing, then maybe I'll do something about it.
Hey, what are you doing not subscribed? Get down there. What do you think you're doing? Like, it's literally right there. A big, giant, red button. Here, I'll instruct you. Just scroll down a little on whatever device you're using. Press the button. Maybe hit the little like button that's down there as well. And then, while you're down there, comment your favorite commander. Whatever commander you like. Don't be a fucking nerd, though. Whatever commander. As long as it's not mono blue. Whatever commander you want, comment down there. Give me some ideas on the next commander that I could do. Okay, back to the video. Bye.
So, there's that one. It's all right deck. It's fine. It doesn't really get me any wins. This next deck is actually my newest one. So, we're gonna go over this one. Okay, so the next deck that I have is actually a really new commander, because it just came out in Aether Drift. It is Mendicant Core Guidelight, and he is a asterisk. I don't even know what you would call that in Magic terms. 3, and so he is a white and blue, very cheap commander, but he is extremely good. His power is equal to the number of artifacts that you control, and he has Starter Engine. That means whenever you start your engine, you start off at 1, and so you can, whenever you get to 4 is whenever you get to max speed. And so every single time on your turn, whenever an opponent takes damage, you go up 1, and it can only do it once per turn. So a max 3 turns if you do your cards right. And so then whenever you get to max speed, whenever you cast an artifact spell, you may pay 1 if you do copy it. So that is really good. So what I have, where are they at? So this is just a token for Start Your Engines, which is pretty cool. It should go 1, 2, 3, explains it, and then you can flip it over, and then max speed 4. So I'm going to set this over there. This is like an honorable mention card. It kind of fits the theme of like the Guidelight. There's a couple Guidelight cards that are pretty good that I have actually in here. I think I have every single Guidelight card in here actually. Maybe besides one, but he's pretty good. Not really the greatest thing. I just put him in there because I like the theme of it. And some of these in here are really like just because the theme that I like. So the first one that I have is Cephalopod Sentry, and then he's a 2 white and blue, so not that bad, but his power is equal to the number of artifacts you control. So it's basically the same as him, but with more health, which is pretty good. So, and then also if you copy him, you get 2 of them. So that's extremely good. And so let me grab a stack of these. I also have some lands in here because they have Start Your Engines. This land is probably the best land in the entire Aether Drift set that came out. Because whenever you get to max speed, you tap 2. The thing is with max speed, it doesn't go down unless somebody has a specific card that says bring your like speed down or whatever, which is in Aether Drift. Not a lot of people are going to be running that because there's not a lot of people that are going to be running Start Your Engines or stuff that has Start Your Engines. So that's pretty good. I got a land there. Got Padeem, Console of Innovation. Artifacts you control have Hexproof, which is extremely good in this deck, especially because I played it. I kind of threw like a bunch of stuff around that I had already. I ordered some cards recently, and he popped off really good. He didn't win because it was like nothing synergized or anything like that, but whenever he has hexproof, that is going to be amazing because he got targeted so much. He got up to a 12 commander tax, and it was absolutely insane. And then at the beginning of your upkeep, if you control an artifact with the highest mana value or tied, yada yada, draw a card, which is pretty good. Rover Blades came out in Aether Drift. This is a new one. This is a weird one. It's an artifact equipment vehicle. So it's an equipment, but it's also a vehicle, so it can actually be on its own. So it has double strike, and whatever you put it on has double strike. But I need to look more into it. Wait, this vehicle becomes an artifact until the end of the turn. Wait, so I really don't know. Because if it says crew 2, I don't know if you have to have crew 2 on this person or if you just have equipped creature has double strike. I'm gonna have to look more into that. I didn't really look that up. This one I just put in. It's really not the greatest thing. It's kind of a good card, but it's just a blue shell from what is it called, from Mario Kart. So I mean, like, I have to put it in. Mirrors are really extremely good in this deck. There's a combo that I will show you later whenever I get to it, but this one's really good, especially if you copy it, because it creates 4 1/1 mirror artifact tokens, and then whenever you do it, you may tap X amount, and then you get plus X0 until, which is the amount of mirrors that you tapped. So that's really good, especially if you just go ahead and do 8. So there's that. Organic Extinction, destroy all non-artifact creatures. That's pretty good. Your artifacts can do this, and so each artifact that you tap after you're done activating mana abilities for 1. I'm not really sure what that means. I think it just means like if you do these 2 white, you could just tap, you know, however many artifacts, which is pretty good. This guy, I just put him kind of in there for start your engines, and then he can sacrifice, pay 1 to sacrifice, and then I copy a spell. So I mean, that's pretty good. Some more copying. I just put this in here just because I got it out of a box, and then you get start your engine. So if you get it, you can start that super early. Slitherblade, he's a 1/2. He's gonna be really good to get your start your engines up super high, because he can't be blocked super fast, and that's the only reason that he's in there. Mirror Retriever. Whenever he dies, return a target artifact from your graveyard to your hand. He is a combo. I'm not exactly done with this deck. It's basically done. It can run good, but I'm not exactly done with it. There's a couple cards that I still need. It's Karok Clan Ironworks, I think. I'll put it up on the screen and show you what it does. But you basically sacrifice an artifact, put 2 mana into your pool. He is, if you copy him, you'll have 2 of them. So then you have 2, you sack the original, sack the copy, bring the original back to your hand, play him again over and over and over again. And so eventually, so you get 4 mana, it costs 3 to put him back out, then you have 1 floating mana. So you can do that an infinite amount of times, over and over and over and over again, and then you have a bajillion million mana to do whatever you want with. So, where's it at? If you want to go ahead and cast, this is a new card, Market Back Walker, then you have a bajillion million mana, and it has that many counters on it. So another card that I want is Walking Ballista. That's another one, so you can just keep taking +1/+1 counters off of it and then do damage, so you automatically instantly win. But that's a good combo with those. Walking Ballista is another one that I want. A couple other ones that I have combos for. Where is it at? Where's it at? It might be down in here. It is, I think it's this first. Oh yeah, it's Unstoppable Plan. That's another one that came from Aether Drift, and it's at the beginning of your end step, untap all non-land permanents. But if you pair this with the card Stasis, players don't get an untap phase, and then as long as I pay blue, I can just keep it going on each of my upkeeps. So I won't be able to do anything about my lands. My lands would be stuck because non-land permanents you control. But if you pair this with Stasis, nobody gets untap steps, and so that's why everybody hates blue players. This is one of my only like blue decks. I don't have a lot of blue decks. I like red and green the most, but. And then artifact spells you cast cost 1 less. Of course, Gilded Lotus, if you copy that, that's amazing. Aether Spell Bomb, that's pretty good, because if you copy it, you can sacrifice it, return a creature to its owner hand, or you can just draw a card, that's pretty good. Dreamstone Hedron, he taps 3, that's really good to copy. And then whenever you cast an artifact spell, you get a 1/1 Thopter, and you just keep going up and up. The artifact spells you cast cost 1 less. I put Soul Ring here just because, you know, it's Soul Ring, so that this would be like the best thing to cast. You won't be casting this off like turn 1 unless you have like bad land draws. You would want to cast this way later on, and I chose this one because I love this art. It's basically, I think this is my second favorite art for Soul Ring, and the number 1 is in my my Iron Man deck, because he came with one, and that one's super pretty looking. This one's an Angel artifact, and so whenever it comes in, you destroy exile up to 2 target creatures or enchantments, so that's really good. And then I put some artifact lands in here because that counts as an artifact, so that'll bring it up. And then Rogue's Passage is the best, like card in all of every deck ever, because it just makes everything unblockable, so that's pretty good, or makes a target creature unblockable. And then this is just, you know, a couple different cards that are really that important. This one came out in Aether Drift, that's a pretty good one. This is a really good one because it prevents all damage from attacking artifact creatures you control, so every time I attack it prevents all damage, so that's pretty good. He's good just to get more things, because at the beginning of your end step you create a sculpture. Sculpture can't do anything, but their power and toughness are equal to the number of sculptures you control. You could probably have something that's like, oh, your highest power, whatever, you know, you deal that much damage or something, which would be pretty good, but you would just want them because they're artifacts for him. Artifacts you control cost 1 less to cast. He was an expensive boy. I have this one just because of 1 mana of any color, but also start your engines. This one's pretty good because you get a +1/+1 for each artifact spell that you do. And then untap target artifact. I kept... This one's not legal, but it is an artifact creature and it's amazing. And I'm gonna ask... My friends would be okay with it, I don't care. But if I ever play with this at like a... what is it called? At a... like game store or anything like that, I'm gonna be like, I have 1 illegal card in here, it's absolutely not anything, I just want it because it's amazing. So I pulled that out of like an Infinity set that I just did, not box, sorry, like play booster that I just grabbed just because I thought it was funny, and so I shoved it in there. And then artifact land, Solum Sicrolum, I've never been able to say that one. Unstable Obelisk, which is, you know, whatever. Diamond Mare is going to be really good because if you copy him, you can choose each of color. You can choose a white, and then the copy could be a blue, and then whenever you cast a spell for the chosen color, you get to gain 1 life. So whenever you could copy either or, then you'd be good. Or you could choose colorless, I guess, because you wouldn't have a lot of colorless, so either way. And then this one's really good. At the beginning of your upkeep, each player draws a card, and then whenever opponent draws a card, that player loses 1 life. That's really good, especially if you copy him. If you copy him, then he's dealing 2 tick damage each per, but they are also getting an extra card draw, but they are losing 4 life actually per. So Mirrorsmith is really good. Whenever you cast an artifact spell, you can pay an extra 1 like on top of this and make a 1/1 mirror. That's pretty good. This one I just threw in there because it has start your engines, and it's pretty good with whenever an artifact enters exile non-land permanent opponent controls. So that's going to be really good because you're doubling the artifacts over and over. This one's really good because it's both. So it gets a +1/+1 for each artifact. Wait, other artifacts you control get +1/+1, sorry. But its power and toughness is equal to it. And then these are pretty good. Whenever you copy them, you just get 2 things that you can put on them, and it gets vigilance and then +2/1, and then you have 2 little extra dudes. I thought that was pretty good. This one is just, you can sacrifice it real fast, counter, unless it pays 3. Meteor Golem, you just destroy non-land permanents. If you copy it, you get 2 of them. This one's really good, especially if you do that, what is it called? If you do the infinite mana that I was just telling you. I put this in here for that, and so you can add one for each charge counter on it. So if you do it 1 billion times and then you multi-kicker it 500 million times, you can add that much mana and never have to do it again. And then this is just add blue, spin it on an artifact creature. This guy's not really that great, but you know, whatever. He's pretty cool. You can create a Thopter, and then whenever anything dies, you draw a card. That is create a token of a target creature, an artifact, an artifact that a player controls. This one's just creating things. That's a really good one to get out because he has haste, and so you can just hurry up and start doing it for the max speed. He's really good. He has Ward 4, which is crazy, and Improvise, so you can tap artifacts to get him out. And whenever an artifact enters the battlefield under your control, little +1/+1 on Kappa, and it can't be blocked this turn. So you're going to be doing it because it's not whenever it casts, it's whenever it enters. So that's going to be really good. Other blue creatures you control, whenever this creature becomes tapped, draw a card, then discard a card. Other artifacts you control get a +1/+1, or you can pay a blue or 2 life, and then until the end of the turn, target creature becomes a blue artifact in addition to its other colors, activate only as sorcery. Pretty good. And then another artifact land, indestructible. One of those other ones, this one is equipped has flying, so you'll have 2 of those. And then this one's another, this one's just a regular one. You could do it, equipped creature has flying, affinity for artifacts, so you can pay 1 less for each artifact that you control, so you would have a lot, so it'd just be 1 blue basically. Same thing, affinity for artifacts, and then affinity for artifacts, draw 2 cards. So yeah, whenever I get these other cards in, I did the math, and so it's going to be like, I think around like $34 or something like that. I already spent a lot on this deck, so I just might wait like a little bit and play it a little bit before. But yeah, he's pretty good. He has some other really good cards in there, so it's my newest deck. The deck tech's not all the way there, but I think it's going to be pretty good. So yeah, on to the next one. This is Editor J, and just letting you know that the mic quality is probably going to drop because it has to use my phone quality from here on out during the video. Don't really know what happened. The microphone just stopped recording, so yeah, it's not the worst, but it's not the best, so just get ready for that. Bye-bye.
Pretty powerful deck, am I right? I'm actually pretty proud of myself on this one. Aether Drift I was really excited for, just because I like racing, I like cars, I like going vroom, you know, really cool. The set kind of was very underwhelming. I think they're doing a lot of that with their actual Universes Within sets. There's a new set coming out in not too long, I think April, or next month actually. I think it's a Tarkir set. This is before my time. Everybody's really excited for it, but they're kind of just, you know, focusing on the new sets, the Final Fantasy, that you're not gonna be able to buy because the Commander sets are $900. But that's besides the point. They're really just focusing on the universes beyond. I don't really have a problem with it. I haven't grown up with Magic, so it's not like, you know, a hurt on me. I can understand why people are very upset about it, but I like this deck a lot. I need to play with it. I need to finish the upgrades with it. I just need to drop another couple tens of dollars on it, maybe even more than that, and then it'll be really good. But yeah, none of these sets are ranked or anything like that. I have no idea how to rank my sets. So if you just want to tell me in the comments what you think each one is going to. I know they did the 1 through 5 ranks of what they are now. I'm showing you the best cards that I think are in the set, so I mean, if you just want to tell me what you think each ones are, then that's, you know, do that in the comment section. While you're down there, leave a like. Okay, so the next one is going to be this one.
Okay, so this next set that I have is a newish commander from Foundations. It came out right before... Oh, not right before Aether Drift. No, it was right before Aether Drift because it was Foundations and Aether... Yeah. So, it is Evereth. She is flying. She's a 2/2. Really not that expensive. And then it is, she sacrifices another creature or artifact. Doesn't tap, doesn't do anything, so that's really, really good. You don't have to pay or anything like that. And then you put a +1/+1 on her, and then if the creature that was sacrificed, or permanent that was sacrificed, is a treasure, she gains lifelink and until the end of the turn. You can only activate it as a sorcery, so that means you can only do it during your 2 main phases. But the reasoning for that is like if you're attacking and then somebody is about to kill her, you can't just like use it as like an instant and just like, you know, keep tapping or sacrificing a bunch of stuff and then giving her one so she'd survive. But the main important part is whenever she dies, you may pay a 1 and a black or a red, and when you do, she deals damage equal to its power to each opponent. So let's say like she's like a 10/10 or something like that, and people are like, oh my god, she's bad, we need to get rid of her. So they get rid of her, but you pay a 1 and a black or 1 or a red, you deal 10 damage to each person. It's not commander damage, but there's some cards that are in here that help with that. And so even when she's small, if you keep getting her out over and over again and people keep targeting her, that's 2 damage every single time. So that's tick damage over and over and over again. And so I'm just gonna set her over here. She's a little glary. I'll take her out. These are nice little card boxes that deck boxes that Santa gave me, so they're pretty nice. I got this hard little cover. Okay, so got these. Of course, like the most important card in this entire deck is, you know, a treasure token. And so I'm gonna set that aside there, put her there. And so I didn't want to grab every single card that was like the most important or whatever, just because it's like the entire deck kind of synergizes with each other. I'm knocking my camera all around, sorry. Okay, so the first one is Lagomos, Hand of Hatred. At the beginning of your combat turn, create a 2/1 elemental creature token, sacrifice at the beginning of your next end step. Okay, so that's really, really important because whenever you do it, it's your main step and then your end step. So you could just sack it every single second main step. And so that'd be pretty good. And then you can tap and then search your library for a card, put it in your hand, then shuffle, activate only if 5 or more creatures have died this turn. So if you sack a bunch of creatures or whatever, that'd be what is it called? That's a good thing to do because you can search for anything you want. The next one is Academy Manufacturer. This is one of the most broken cards in this entire deck because whenever you create any of these tokens, you create 1 of each instead also. But that's extremely good because you're able to sack, instead of 1 that you would just do usually, you would sack 3. So instead of 1/1/1, you would get 3 of them. So that's really good. Zorn, he's kind of like Academy Manufacturer. He just only does it with treasure tokens. And so if you would create 1 or more treasure tokens, you would create an additional one. So that one's pretty good. Fake Your Own Death, that is specifically for Evereth, just because whenever you do, you're able to pay the 1 in the black and then she'll come back immediately, so you don't have to get commander text or anything like that. Wriggling, I guess I just call it Wiggling Grub. Whenever he dies, you create 2, so that's 3+1/+1s that you could just sack immediately. Persistent Specimen, you can return from your graveyard, so you can just keep doing it over and over again. Cranial Plating gives you +1/0 for each artifact you control. It's kind of off and on how many artifacts you control. If you're sick of giving her +1/+1s, you can have a crap ton of what is it called, treasure tokens, and then you'll be completely fine that way. This one I really just like the art. It's not the best card, but whenever it enters, it creates a treasure token, and whenever it dies, it's a treasure token. It took me a while to get this card because like people were canceling my order and stuff and it was out of stock, whatever. But that one's a really good one. I like it. Bulk up's pretty good, so you can target double the creature's power, and then if you want to kill her off, you'll double it. So she's at like a +10/+10, you'll double, or 11/11 or something like that. Double it, and then, you know, sack her, and then she can, you know, deal damage. Curse Mirror, you can basically copy Evereth and then kill her, or you can just keep it for a red, or copy whatever else you want. Ozrox, he's another of the Foundation Jumpstart commanders, so I just put him in here. He's really good. Whenever he dies, you create Jumble Bones, And then whenever Jumbo Bones dies, you return him, and then you can play him back. And then whenever he dies, you make a double over and over again. So you need a lot of mana for him, but he's pretty good. And then Fling is one of the most important cards in this set, because you can attack, and then as an additional cost, sacrifice this creature. You'll sacrifice her, and then deal damage equal to any target. So that's pretty good. And then, but you can also, when you Fling, since she is dying, you can pay the 1 and the red, and then deal damage equal to whatever opponent, or each opponent. And then Goblin Negotiations, I mean, it's fine. It's you can get like a 1/1 and then blast the X and then get that many 1/1s. And then Cranial Ram, you get a 0/0, and then whenever you can just sack that 0/0 and then put the Cranial Ram on you, because otherwise if you just take it off anyway, it'll just die. 9 Lives Familiar is one of the most important cards in this entire set, because it gets 9 lives, it gets 8 revival counters. So when you kill it, you just kill it 9 times over and over and over again, and that's an automatic 9. What is it called? That's an automatic 9 +1/+1s. And if someone sacks it, like if someone's like, oh my god, 9 Lives Familiar, god, can't do that. You play, they sack it, or not sack it, sorry, that's sacrifice, but they kill it or something with like an instant, and it just comes right back. So that's 8. If someone else does it again, that's 7, that's 6, that's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. No one's gonna have that many, and so if someone really wants to, they could just waste it on here, and then you automatically get all of those +1/+1s. So that's probably one of the most important cards in this entire set. And then Army of the Damned, create 13 2/2 black tokens, and then you can flashback it. It costs a little bit more, it costs 2 extra, but you create 13, so that's an automatic 13 that you do. And then if you decide to do it again, like the next time, if you have enough mana, that's another 13. Crime Novelist, whenever you sacrifice an artifact, put a +1/+1 on Crime Novelist, and then add 1. So you could just keep sacrificing over and over and over again. He gets the +1/+1s, and then you also get that much mana per. Chainsaw, whenever a creature dies, put a rev counter. It deals 3 damage to up to 1 target creature, and then you get the +1, or you get the +X0, where it's that many rev counters. If you put that on her, she's going to be getting all of that, because she's sacrificing all of the artifacts and such, so that's going to be really good. Piggy Bank, enters, makes a treasure token. You can just get the treasure token, sack that, sack this. That's an automatic 2. Comes in, whenever it attacks, it creates a treasure token, so that's pretty good. Don't really care about the, what is it called, the other ability. But this one's really good because you can pay 1, or not pay 1, +1, and then create a treasure, create a token, and then at the beginning of the next end step, sacrifice this token. You can do that every single time. Sorry, my thing is like keeps shaking. You can do that every single time, and then pay the 2, and then you automatically get 2 damage to everybody each time. So that's going to be really good. I took this out of my my Wolverine set, because all my Marvel ones are proxies, so it doesn't really matter. I'll just put it back in there whenever I decide to. But it's at the Ozolith, and so whenever anybody dies, all of the counters just go onto this, and at the beginning of your combat, you may put all of the counters onto 1 target. So if you bring it right back, you can just put all the counters right back on there. So that's a really important card. Diamond Pickaxe, you just make treasure tokens, get +1/+1. This one's a really good one. Whenever 1 or more artifacts you control leave the battlefield. So if you have the Zone Hound here, that's infinite. That goes infinite. So if you destroy a token, a treasure token, you make a 1/1 colorless. You destroy the 1/1 colorless, you make another one, and you make another one. Or I guess technically, well, I'm getting ahead of myself. You can only do that once each turn, so that's an automatic, like, just whatever. But I mean, if you have ways of getting it in and out, I mean, that can go infinite, but I don't. But Tarian's Soul Cleaver, that one's really good, because every single time you, god dang, I keep hitting my camera. Every single time that you hit an artifact or a creature is put in the graveyard from the battlefield, +1/+1, so that's going to be going up and up and up. Collector's Vault, more treasure tokens for each land. That's junk tokens, and then you could just sacrifice the artifact, yada yada yada. Workwood backs, every single time you sacrifice a token, each opponent loses 1 life. So that's going to be extremely good for whenever you're doing treasure tokens. Make more treasure tokens. Every time you sack a creature, put a +1/+1 on body dropper. I just randomly found this at a game exchange. That one's pretty good. Hit the mother load, the same thing, game exchange. Then this one's really good. You make a lot of treasure tokens, or you can make not a lot at all, but that one's pretty good. And then more treasure tokens, drawing cards. This one's really good. If you if a creature were to deal damage to what is it called? If a creature were to deal damage to a permanent or player, it deals double that damage instead. So whatever you do, like whenever you do her ability, whenever she dies, it'll deal double damage to whatever like opponent. So that'd be pretty good. Create a tapped 1/1 black creature token for every or a black rat creature token for each creature in your graveyard, and it has flashback, so you can do it again. So if you have a whole bunch of creatures in there, you can just go ahead and do that. And then Swiftfoot Boots, of course, because Hexproof and Haste, she's going to be targeted a lot. And then creates 2 treasure tokens when it enters. This has Fabricate, so it can either do a +1/+1 on it, or it makes a 1/1 colorless Servo artifact creature token. And then it's whenever a creature or artifact you control is put in the graveyard, each opponent loses 1 life. That's the main part of it. And then this one's kind of like a mini Evereth. It basically, anytime you sacrifice a permanent, put a +1/+1 on Jury, and then whenever Jury dies, it deals damage equal to its power to any target. So it's only 1 target, but you don't have to pay for anything. So it's just whatever it is. This one's the same thing as like the Specimen one. You can do it, kill it, bring it back to the battlefield. This one is really good. Last time I played, everybody was getting mad at Rev. Usually Rev is used in its own like commander set, or like commander deck. People can put her as commander. She's a really good commander, but I kind of just, you know, like her in this. She kind of bounces off because you get treasure tokens. Whenever you attack, target creature gains Death Touch. Put Death Touch on her, that'd be fine. And then where is it at? Create a treasure token and then look at the top card of that player's library, exile it face down, nobody knows what it is, and then you may cast that card for as long as it remains exiled. So you could just do it. If someone's like a green and a white, but this is a red and a black, you just have all those treasure tokens that you're able to cast it with. So that'd be pretty good. And then of course Chaos Warp. This one's really good because you can create a 2/2 black zombie token. You just, you know, do that over and over again, sack them, and then you can return Evereth back. She'll be a zombie, which doesn't really matter. So that'd be pretty good. And then of course Rogue's Passage. But Rogue's Passage basically goes in like every single one of my decks. Pretty good. Evereth is pretty good. I like her a lot. I think she's probably top 3 deck for me. I think from here it's probably going to be like top 3 or number 3, and then probably number 2, and then number 1. But yeah, on to the next one.
All right, so Evereth is pretty good. She was one of the ones that were very, very sought after in the Foundation's Jumpstart. A little fun story. I didn't know how Foundation's Jumpstart worked. I bought so many Foundations packs. Just normal Foundations, not Jumpstart. Because I didn't know the little anime cards, because I wanted to be a little weeb, were only in the Jumpstart packs. So I bought the big beginner box. I bought the, what is it called? The ETB. I bought I bought a giant, what is it called? The $130 one that's overpriced now, so I spent even more money on it. The booster box. I bought the booster box. Wasted so much money on this set because I was looking for these. And then I found out that it was only in the Jumpstarts. And then I wasted a bunch of money on Jumpstart. So I got Evereth and I got Rev. Pretty cool. Rev is more expensive than Evereth, but I think she goes pretty good in the Evereth deck. But there's a couple other ones. If I decide to build a deck on them, one of them's like the snake lady that looks like Medusa. Don't remember her name. I'll throw her up on screen or whatever. But you know, I think she's pretty good. Especially if you can get those tokens popped off and you can just sack those tokens and everything. I think it's a pretty good set. So, on to my number 2. Really, not number 2. Kind of tied for number 1. But, it is Mommy. Just, it's Mommy.
Ugh. Brother, ugh.
Okay, so the next deck that I have is Karlach, Fury of Avernus. A furnace. We have Mommy. I have Mommy. Okay, I said it. Okay, you happy with me? But I have specifically the Secret Lair version because my girlfriend had got it for me for. I'm pretty sure it was my birthday. I think for my birthday, my last one. I was really wanting to do a set with her. I thought it was pretty cool, and so I got that. And so she is a 1 red and then 4 whatever else. And she has whenever you attack, if it's the first combat phase, untap all attacking creatures, and then they gain first strike until the end of the turn. After this phase, there's an additional combat phase, which is really good. She also has choose a background, and the background that I decided to go with her is Raised by Giants. It's a legendary enchantment background. These were only in the Baldur's Gate set that she came out of, but it's a 5 and a green, and then legendary command of creatures that you own get power and toughness of 10/10, and then are giants in addition to their other types. So really good, really expensive. Well, really expensive, in price wise, but also in, mana wise. But we'll set that aside. Let me pull the deck out real fast. I didn't grab too many of these just because a lot of what I have are just big heavy hitters in this one. This is one of the first decks that I've also built. So not really too optimized, but extremely strong once it starts popping off. You just need a ton of mana, so I got a lot of mana ramps in this. The first one I have is Dragon Wing Glider. I just had this, and it's a really good card because you get an extra, and you can also equip it onto Karlach if you decide to. You get a little extra, like 2/2. The equip cost isn't too much. It's the same as like the regular just mana cost, so it's not that bad. Kona Rescue Beastie is really good for this deck, especially if you have something that is extremely high cost. Like I got some like 7 costs, so on and so forth. If you don't want to pay those and you end up actually like fighting with Kona instead, or like attacking and it's tapped, or if you have any way to make them tap anyways, it's extremely good because you're able to just throw everything out. I put all of the what is it called? All of the Secret Lair Karlach cards in here just because they're pretty looking, they're cool. I really like them. This one's extremely good. They all kind of go well together. I kind of built them all around this just because that's what I had. So as Convoke, so that means that you can use your permanents to pay for this. So instead of like any of the 5 mana, you could just tap them instead. And so then it has if a source you controlled would deal damage to a permanent or player, it deals triple that damage instead. So absolutely insane. Stranglehold, opponents can't search libraries, and then you can, or they don't get any extra turns, so that's pretty good. Branching Evolution, if 1 or more +1/+1 counters would be on there, twice that many +1/+1 counters would be put on there. That really, it combos extremely good with all the other things that we have. And then Innkeeper's Talent, it's kind of good. It's just really good when you get up into here because you get another twice that many of each counter that you can get. So you get twice as many, so it just keeps doubling. And then Excalibur's Sword of Eden, really expensive card. I kind of splurged for this to put this in here. Extremely good though. It costs X less for each historic and permanent, historic permanents, which is artifacts, legendary, sagas, whatever. You end up getting a lot of them, and so you're able to just bring that way down. And then equipped a legend. It's only equipped 2 costs, so that's good, but it can only be equipped to a legendary creature, which it's gonna go on Karlach. Galata, I don't know how to pronounce some of these, but Primal Hunger, literally Karlach gets to like 10/10 really fast, and so that 10 just drops down to 2 cost. So it's 2 cost for a 12/12. It's absolutely insane. Or if you really wanted to, if you don't have anything else out and you can't get Karlach out and you have Kona, tap Kona, get her. I say her, but it's, you know, whatever gender. But tap her, and then you're able to get her, get Gala Primal Hunger out really, really fast. Unnatural Growth is an extremely good card in this set. At the beginning of each combat, double the power and toughness until the end of the turn. That is a very, very, very important, because if you get multiple combat turns, I have a lot of cards in here that give me multiple combat turns. It'll just keep doubling and doubling and doubling. And so, Calamity Bearer, if a giant you would control permanent does damage or whatever, you deal double damage instead. So Karlach would deal double damage since she would be a giant, along with the other triple damage. So absolutely insane. Swiftfoot Boots, of course, because that's like one of the most important things. I added this land, Kessig Wolf Run. It just adds for a colorless, but you can add however much and you would get trample. So that's really good if people are trying to block Karlach constantly. You'd gain trample no matter what. You can, or you can just gain however much you want. Equip abilities have 3 less, and then aura abilities have 3 less to cast, which is really, really good. And then each aura and equipment you get +2/+2 for it. And then Thrill Possibility, look at that. Beautiful card right there. There we go. That's me right there. They painted me into this. Yeah, that's me right there. As an additional cost, discard a card, draw 2 cards, you know, whatever. But this one's really good just because of Double Strike. This one can pop off. So if you, let's see. If you get Unnatural Growth, and then you get Branching Evolution, and then Innkeeper's Talent. So all 3 of these, if you get all of these out and start just ramping up like crazy, and then you have at least 2 combat turns, but sometimes I've gotten it to where it's 4 combat turns or something. But sometimes the combat turns, like, you don't untap them or anything like that, so it doesn't really matter. But just because you are still in a combat turn, it is doubling each time. So with Ambitious Dragonborn, he gets a +1/+1 counter where X is the greatest amount, or X +1/+1 counters where X is the greatest power among creatures I control in my and creature cards in your graveyard or whatever. What's really good about him is that if you keep doubling, and then you go into your second main phase, eventually after like doing whatever, I've gotten Karlach to, I think it was like 245 or something like that. 245 or something. And then after all that, you play him, he comes in and gets all of that. And then if you double and double again, he ends up like insane. I think I had him at one point at like a 568. It's absolutely insane. The one thing that I do want to add to this is another Ozolith, like I had in my Evereth deck. So if I have another Ozolith in here, he gets counters and doesn't get, it's not like his power or anything, he just gets that many counters. And so if he ever died or got removed or anything like that, it would all go to the Ozolith, and then I could just, like, you know, put whatever else in there, or if I ever get Karlach back in there, that would be absolutely insane. Goreclaw, really good. She, what is it called? Makes everything power 4 greater, 2 less to cast, and then whenever you attack, yada yada yada. She's pretty good. Dolmen Gate is one of the most OP fucking things in this entire deck. You don't get any combat damage for any attacking creatures you control. You could just attack for free over and over and over again. Absolutely insane. Only a 2 cost. Extremely expensive card. And then Rogue's Passage, of course, because Rogue's Passage is OP. And then Well Rested, you put it on there, it's a aura, and so if you have that other one, you get +2/+2 for each aura or whatever, so that's already +4/+4. And then gets untapped, put 2 +1/+1 counters on it, and then you gain 2 life and draw a card. It only does it each 1 turn, so you get to do it once each turn or whatever, but you want to make sure whoever you put this on gets to untap multiple times. Like if you untap multiple times, make sure they're tapped by the end of the turn for the next one. Hellkite Charger, really good. If you attack, you pay that, you can get another what is it called? Another turn, so you can redo everything over and over again. Savage Ventmaw is really good because whenever you attack, you get 3 red, 3 blue into your mana pool, or 3 blue, 3 green, sorry, into your mana pool. And then if you have multiple ones, like if you have Karlach, gets another one, untaps all of them, has first strike. That's really good because then you'll have 6 red and 6 green to your mana pool. Fear of Missing Out, I put that in there. If you have 4 more card types among your graveyard, untap the target creature. After this phase, there's another additional combat phase. That one's really good. And then Etali, Primal Storm, literally like needs to be in every single red deck ever. Exile the player's library and this and that, and then get to play them without mana costs. And then Decimate's really good for any Gruul deck. And then Rabid Gnaw is extremely good because if you do this as an instant and like Karlach's like at 100 or whatever, then it deals damage equal to its power to target creature you don't control. So you could do it to like anything. So if someone has a super crazy one, just 100 damage to a 1/1 or something like that. So yeah, that's a pretty good one. And then I'm pretty sure this one is like tied for my top one, but the top one's kind of my baby. It's my first ever one, so let's get right into that one. Okay, so that was Karlach. What can I say? Mommy. But besides that, I really enjoyed her character in Baldur's Gate 3, and so that's the reason why I was so excited to see that she actually had a card. Around the same time that I was getting more into Magic, they released this Secret Lair. I think it was back in August, I think ish. And so I got to the party a little late. I got this in October. It was whenever it sold out because I didn't really know how Secret Lair worked at the time. But my beautiful, amazing girlfriend got it for me for my birthday. So she got that for my birthday. I was super excited for it. Immediately built a deck around it. Yeah, I think it's a really good one. It's not the most well optimized because I think this was the second deck I've ever built. And so I looked up a video on some things that I could go and throw in there. I put some cards that I already had in there. But I think overall it's pretty good. I was thinking about maybe upgrading it every once in a while, seeing how well I could do that. But on to my number one. It's my first ever commander deck I've ever had. It's a pre-con. It got me into Magic immediately. I got hooked as soon as I got it. And it is this one. You could maybe see what the theme is, but who knows? Who knows what it is? I don't know. You don't know. Oh, actually I do know. But let's get right into it. Okay, so my last and final deck that I'm going to be talking about today is my first ever commander deck. It's a pre-con, so I'm not going to go too much over it. I did some upgrades into it. This box, it was a custom one that I got on Etsy, the first thing I've ever bought on Etsy. I was getting ready to go to a commander night, or a magic night, whatever you want to call it. But it got left, I left it in my car before work, and it, like, the sun decimated it. Right here would be where the commander goes. This is all magnetic, and like it would go like on top, but it got so warped and beat up. But man, it is Dogmeat, ever loyal. We are talking about my Dogmeat today. Pause. But yeah, I love this commander. He is one of my favorites. He's probably got my best win-loss ratio or whatever. Extremely good. Every single time I play, I get targeted, which kind of sucks, but he is a red, a green, and a white, and whenever Dogmeat enters the battlefield, mill 5 cards and return an aura or equipment card from the graveyard to your hand, and whenever a creature you control that's enchanted or equipped attacks, create a junk token. So I got these for I think it was for my birthday as well. I can't exactly remember, but they're cute little junk tokens my girlfriend got me. She's fueling my magic obsession. But yeah, there's a nice little settlement as well because there's a settlement token. So same thing right here, little settlement token, treasure token. These are the ones that came with it. Just because the precon comes with a lot of tokens usually. Okay, so I'm gonna set those aside, set him there, and then let me get the ones I wanted to talk about. Of course, there's like really good ones in here because it's a precon, so I mean, there's always gonna be really good ones in here. And of course, like the Silver Shroud costume, you can use it at Flash as a Flash ability. And whenever it enters, attach it to a creature you control. This creature gains Shroud until the end of the turn. Equipped creature cannot be blocked, which is amazing. So if he's like, if you tap him and he's going, and then all of a sudden like, oh man, I'm gonna die, uh-oh. It has Flash, you pay 2, attach it immediately, can't be blocked, and has Shroud. So extremely good. Pure Steel Paladin, basically, whenever an equipment enters the battlefield you control, you may draw a card. Yeah, that's good and all. But he makes equipment like the equip cost 0, which is extremely good because that's going to save so much mana. And then Bighorn Rancher, he's really good once you start getting everything built up because it's add the amount of green equal to the greatest power among creatures you control. Absolutely insane, and has Vigilance, so you can tap him and then tap him back. Oh, dude, it's insane. And so you gain life equal to the greatest toughness among creatures you control if you sacrifice him, which is, you know, you don't really want to sacrifice him. You're going to keep him for the mana ramp. Whenever we've already talked about this, Well Rested, you get every time they become untapped, you get +1/+1 counters. My Karlach deck was basically, I have the precon for Bellow, and then I have this precon, and so whenever I was making my Karlach deck, I basically combined the two. So that's going to be really good. Agility Bobblehead, add 1 mana of any color, and then up to X targets become, can't be blocked this turn, depending on how many Bobbleheads you control. Dragon Wing Glider, same thing, I just wanted the flyings, and then you also get an extra. Baseball Bat, I pulled this one pretty good out of Duskmourn. You get a +1/+1, and you just automatically attach it, and then whenever a equipped creature attacks, tap up to 1 target creature, which is pretty good. This one's really good. Anytime you attack, you get to draw a card, put +1/+1, or untap 2 target lands. That one's really good just because it becomes a copy of anything, any equipment on the battlefield. So you could have some crazy equipment like the Sword of Eden or whatever. Copy that one. Philosophication, +20/20. May I say more, or dare I say more? I have plenty of stuff that makes it where you don't have to tap them, so you get an automatic 20/20. Especially if you can play this like right off rip. This one's a fine one. It's not really like my favorite. I kind of just threw it in there just because. This is part of the precon still. I'm gonna kind of try to skip through all the precon stuff. This one's really good. Gives you the +1/+1 for each artifact or enchantment you control. This one I added in there. Or, no, I didn't add this one. This one's already in there. I was thinking because it got reprinted or whatever. Get +2/+2 trample and lifelink, really good. Death touch and lifelink. And then Mr. Gusty, and then you also get pre-war formal wear. Whenever you do it, you get to return something from the graveyard to the battlefield, or a target creature card with mana 3 value less. So what would happen is you kind of want to save this, and so don't play it. And then if Dogmeat ever gets targeted or dies, you put him in the graveyard instead, and then you can play this, bring him out because he's 3 mana or less, and then he would get all of this. Godsworth, Blasphemous Act. We all know what Blasphemous Act is. Everybody hates it. This one's really good because you can put a shield counter whenever it enters. So you can put a shield counter on Dogmeat, and then he's good for a little bit. And then Branching Evolution, amazing. You get twice as many +1/+1 counters. Another Bobblehead, 1 mana of any color, and then however many Bobbleheads you control. Swiftfoot Boots, really good. Kate Cage Brawler, if you need to get something out super fast, she's your girl. And then has Indestructible whenever it's my turn, and absolutely insane. She can get so big. She's not the alternative commander in this deck, but if you ever want a cool commander that you can keep going, Kate Cage Brawler is amazing. Just because you can put 2+ whenever she attacks, and then you draw a card, discard a card, put 2+2 +1/+1 counters on Kate. If the discarded card with the highest mana value among those cards are yours, or if you're tied, you just get to like whoever you're attacking with, you discard a card with them. Whoever has the highest mana value, or if you're tied, you put 2+1/1 counters on her. Extremely. I might actually put her on my list to make a deck out of. She's pretty cool. Almost perfect. One of the best cards in the entire deck. You get 9, 10, indestructible or base power and toughness. Absolutely insane. I added the Wandering Rescuer. She has Flash and Convoke, so you can play her at whatever time. Double Strike, and then other tapped creatures you control have Hexproof, so you can play her whenever you're attacking. If someone's like, oh no, destroy, instant, whatever, you can play her at Flash speed or instant speed, and then everybody who is tapped has Hexproof. And then Champion's Helm, +2/+2 has Hexproof if it's legendary. Rancor is really good because if it ever goes away, you can just go back to your hand. Double Strike for Fire Shrieker. Idolize, whenever you attack, you get +X until where X is the number of non-land permanents you have, which is pretty good. Preston Garvey, Minuteman, is pretty good. He's the alternative, what is it called? Commander in this set. At the beginning of your turn, create a green aura enchantment token named Settlement, and then you basically get double mana. And then whenever he attacks, untap each enchantment permanent you control. So whenever he attacks, you can just untap all of your land, which is pretty good. And then this is whenever this attacks, you create a 1/1 squirrel token. This one's I've been kind of off and on making this one, or putting this one or leaving it, just because I mean, it's really good, but I've been screwed so many times where it's like, whenever an opponent puts a +1 or puts a like token creature, and this has happened to me. Whenever an opponent makes a token creature, it deals damage to them, something like that. And I'm just like, well, I'm screwed. I can't attack with them unless I take off the aura. Strong back, 3 less, and then 2/2 for each enchantment or anything attached to it. And then Heroic Intervention, permanents you control gain Hexproof and indestructible until end of turn. And then we're gonna go over Rogue's Passage first, but I think this is the best card in the entire set. If you pull this card early, oh man, it is good, because it's an aura, but when the Mantle of Ancients enters the battlefield, return any number of target aura or equipment cards that could be attached to enchanted creature from your graveyard, to the battlefield attached to the enchanted creature, and then you get a +1/+1 for each aura and enchantment equipment or whatever to it. So, Dogmeat mills 5 cards. And then if he's died multiple times and you got him out multiple times and he keeps milling and he has a whole bunch of aura and equipment cards in there, you play this and then you have all of them. But also, if he dies and then you bring him back, you mill another 5 cards and you get to return any aura or equipment from the graveyard to your hand. And then you do this and you play it again and you have all of them over and over and over again. So that's what, man, he is probably, I think he's my favorite. I love him. Everybody hates it when I say I'm gonna play with my Dogmeat. Don't quote that, but everybody hates him so much. It even came with a let me find it. I have a little spinner thing for him. I don't use it too often anymore. I just like to have it just because, collectible. I have it on my desk getting over here. I also have, dang, I might have put it somewhere. Oh, wait, no. There's like a nice little display one you can have with them. A nice little, it's like thick. It's a little, thick cardboard. It's nice, nicely colored. Came with it. Pretty cool. They used to make these really cool, not even that too long ago, because these came out just last year. But Commander decks kind of suck now, but yeah, I think that's probably either tied or my favorite one. It's the one that I've won the most with, so yeah, he's pretty cool. All right, so that was my Dogmeat deck. My friends absolutely hate it when I mention this deck and its name. They revolt at the name, but I think it's amazing. I think it's amazing to just say I'm whipping the Dogmeat out on the table. Don't take that out of context. It's the deck. It is the dog's name. Shut it. But no,
I am planning on getting a new deck box for it just because, man, I got really upset whenever I went and tried to open it. I had to forcefully rip it open because of how warped it got. But yeah, this is my baby. It has my best win-loss ratio out of any deck I have. Yeah, I think it's pretty good. All my Marvel decks I bought the Marvel Secret Lair. That's why my deck list is so high. They're all proxy, so if you want to count those or not, whatever you want to do. I think I'm pretty happy with my collection. It's definitely gonna grow. I'm not stopping here. It's not like, you know, like this is an intervention or anything. It is still gonna go, my addiction. But I just wanted to show off what I had. It's not much. Nothing's really that expensive. Maybe I'll do another video in the future whenever I do some more. I have multiple different ones. My next deck that I want to do is Roxanne, Starfall Savant, I think it's called. I'll throw her up on the screen and show you what she does. I also want to do Gev. Gev is from Bloomburrow that I've been wanting to do. He is my favorite lizard of all time. It's a red-eyed crocodile skink. It is my favorite lizard. I want to own one so bad, so I'll own him instead, either way. But yeah, there's a few more that I want to do. Maybe I'll make a deck list for them if enough of you in the comments like, and I'll just update the description and put them in there. And yeah, you know, those were my deck lists. I just wanted to do my deck techs or whatever. I just wanted to do my top 5, and I think they're pretty cool. Let me know down in the comments what I could fix, what I could upgrade, what you would suggest for any of the decks. And yeah, you know, like, subscribe, comment anything you want, please. Put me more in the algorithm. That'd be pretty cool. And I will see you when I see you. Bye-bye.